Welcome to How I Got Over My Instagram Girlfriend, where today is a reaction video, and this one comes from Ebony K. Williams because she's giving women some alternative advice to dating. Now, before we get into this clip, I just want to let you guys know she's the woman who feels like she is too good to be dating a bus driver, meaning she is too good for the guy who's just out here working his ass off. He has to be the owner. He has to be the CEO. And she's entitled to her own opinion. Now, question before we see this clip, is business not working out for her, or is it working out? And is romance this hard to find? Most importantly, do you agree or disagree with her? All right, let's go ahead. Let's check her out.
And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now. Because Black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing. And as we choose, we do have to contend with the reality of a dismally small supply of Black sperm. Because most Black women on this journey, we want to create children that look like us and that look like our families, and that means we want Black sperm. And as we heard from Reese Brooks, it's the definition of slim pickings. And sometimes that means compromising on this aspect of your journey. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of Black sperm from California Cryobank when I embarked on this part of my journey last fall. But I do know that I am an outlier.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. This is definitely business. In fact, this sounds like a commercial, meaning how much is she getting paid for this? Because this is all business. This is why the hookup culture exists, because of women who think like this. If you're this unwilling to work with a man, you don't deserve a child. Now, this woman, I believe, is attractive. Okay, was attractive. I have one thing that I agree with her on and 3 things that I disagree with her on. First, I agree with the fact that we are definitely in a new world. Now, the question would be, what world are we actually going to? Because if she's making this type of statement known, meaning go to a sperm donor opposed to working things out with a man, this is the same woman who had a husband, or let's just call him a spouse, who would rather hang out with his children during COVID than her. She said that out of her own mouth. So it sounds like for a woman like this, romance goes away extremely fast because her mouth. And who the hell wants to deal with her mouth? The answer is no one. This is why she's still single.
Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose.
And this sucks for a woman like her because she's had access to men that the majority of women do not have, mainly because she's in those circles and she's one of the top earning women, right? I mean, she's in the percentage for top earning women. So she has access to those guys because she's able to get into the places where these guys go. Big problem is they refuse to choose her. The number one reason why I disagree with her and her tactic mainly is because I think it's a lot easier to just work things out with the guy. Single motherhood is terrible. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible concept because the majority of women actually are going to need that man for whatever that man can provide, whether it's structure, whether it's discipline, there is them seeing some type of work ethic. That man is going to be needed. As a single parent myself, I can tell you this is hard. It's a hard thing to do, but somebody got to do it. Having fun when you're young sucks because when women get old, it's much harder for them to have children. I'm not here to bash her for her age or anything like that. I'm just saying that she should do some research, and all the women who are thinking about doing this should do a little bit of research, because the majority of women who do have children, they complain about the children that they have, and a lot of them are getting child support. The others who are actually holding it down, they still have those moments where they're miserable. This is why they get back out on the dating scene and they're running wild, because they feel like those children took their younger years. The second thing that I disagree with is her being able to choose. Now, let's put it this way. Again, this was an attractive woman, so she had her ability to choose. She didn't have to be desperate. She could have just chose the right man or the correct man, and she would have been just fine. Now, no man is perfect. No man is perfect, and neither is she. For instance, that headache that she's going to give you day after day, week after week, month after month, there's a reason why this attractive woman is still single. And yes, it is true that men choose who we want to marry when women choose who they want to have sex with. This is not really rocket science, but for some reason, some women seem to forget that's what it takes for her to actually get married. Now, some have just changed their sexual orientation and completely flipped the script on that. But it sounds like this woman actually wants a man, she just can't get one. The third thing that I disagree with is taking this route altogether, because the women who are going to be affected by this are the women who can't afford this expensive and lengthy process. The women who can't afford it, they're already doing it. In fact, I met a nurse who was doing this, and for some reason she thought that this was going to be an easy process. Then she seen me, because we were talking, and how I was raising children, how I was disciplined with my children, and how they listened. Now, she saw other children because she was babysitting her nephew, so she got to see that there's a complete difference. When the father is there and discipline is put in place, life is a little bit easier. Things can move a little bit smoother, and she gets to stay in her femininity. The women who actually should be getting married, who actually can work things out with a man, this woman is thinking she's going to be able to take this route and become even more miserable, angry, bitter, and hurt. Because when you're dealing with a child by yourself, and shout out to all the single moms out there that's holding it down, when you're doing all of this by yourself and that baby is crying and you don't want to deal with that baby, I mean, come on. It's been some pretty despicable things that have happened to children as a result of that mom not having help. So that woman thinking that she can just take that on all by herself, she may want to go do some research. Most importantly, she may just want to go get a man. The reason why I said it's a better option for her to actually choose a man is because who the hell does she think is donating sperm? Does she think it's athletes, celebrities, entertainers, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is it that she thinks is actually donating their sperm? That's why this is such a terrible thing to say or a thing to put out here. This is why I tell men to reinvent yourself, create multiple streams of income. Not for a woman like Ebony K. Williams, because she does want you to be a CEO. But I'm not telling you to be the CEO so you can get her, because once you're the CEO and once you do have the money, you're going to have a much better pool to choose from. You'll be able to basically choose whichever woman you want, because they're all looking for security, provision, right? So as long as you can provide things, you will be in the driver's seat. While you're creating these multiple streams of income, you have to make sure that your health is intact. So go exercise. If you can't make it to a gym, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 100 calf raises. Do this every single day for years. And trust me, the people around you are going to notice it, even if you don't. Most importantly, enjoy the hookup culture. Because if you believe Ebony K. Williams did not enjoy the hookup culture, you have another thing coming. This was an attractive woman. Her problem is she just has too much mouth. And a man does not want to deal with that, especially when he's the boss, especially when he's the CEO, because he's used to giving out orders. He's used to giving out directions, giving out commands that other people follow. This is why he is the CEO, and this is why his business is successful. So I have a question for you guys. Do you agree with what Ebony K. Williams is saying here? Should women really be pursuing single motherhood? Comment under this video. Other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.